He was with the Giants in camp. I don't know if he's still on the team.
Okay, we are streaming to...
I need him to just go straight to broadcasting. He's the funniest
He's funny.
personality to grace our screens in quite a while.
Yeah.
Who is?
Jameis Winston?
Jameis Winston.
What?
Famous Jameis.
Oh my God, he's hilarious. Look at his Super Bowl coverage.
I will. Brian, do you concur?
I don't know what she's talking about specifically on the Super Bowl stuff, but I've seen him in other places, and yes, he does have a very engaging, funny personality.
I like it when people are good at sports are funny, too.
Oh, and
Like
he's
they get
attractive.
everything?
It's quite rude, actually.
All right, well, here we go, starting the commercial.
My eyes.
Support for Wrong About Everything comes from Minnesota's credit unions. Credit unions are locally based, member-owned financial cooperatives that return earnings to members through higher savings rates, lower loan rates, and reduced fees. Visit mncun.org for more information.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Wrong About Everything podcast. I am GOP strategist and currently hatless Brian McDaniel.
I am former Republican Senate Majority Leader Amy Koch.
I am cultural correspondent Allison Nessie.
And we are
Wrong About Everything.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to dispense with our normal banter because it is another effing horrible week in the world that we live in. But we also, before that, want to welcome everybody to the Minnesota Credit Union Network studios, deep within the recesses of MBC Studios here in Northeast Minneapolis. We got Gabe Noah producing us. He's a whirling dervish of production in the other room. And we're coming to you via your favorite method of getting a podcast. We hope it's watching us on YouTube. We would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and then send it to all your friends. And let's help grow this thing. You guys are doing a great job, so thank you. And if you're listening to us on a regular podcast, that's cool too.
Yep.
But
We should pay some bills,
Yep.
and then we'll
Yep.
get to the meat because the breaking news on Charlie Kirk just in the last few hours.
Yeah. So we're also very proud to be sponsored by Bradshaw and Bryant. Their entire team of attorneys and staff is dedicated to providing legal advice you need, combined with the service and personal attention you deserve. If you have questions about how they can assist you with a personal injury, wrongful death, or criminal defense matter, do not hesitate to contact them. Consultations are free. Please contact them at 800-770-7008 or at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Before we get to the meat of what we're talking about today, and I probably speak for all three of us, I am tired of talking about this. I am tired of talking about murder. I am tired of talking about rape. I am tired of talking about sex trafficking. I'm tired of talking about people stealing money from children trying to eat breakfast. I'm tired of it. And yeah, point the finger. Pointed at one guy, pointed at the other one, do that. But you know what? Society is sick, and I am sick of talking about it. It is every week now.
Every week.
And we start at the president. We try to shoot the president, and then we're going down to setting the governor of Pennsylvania's house on fire, and now we're assassinating the Speaker of the House in Minnesota and her family, and now Charlie Kirk, who's conservative activist and commentator, and it's going to keep getting lower and lower until we're essentially talking about the Farmington City Council, and it's ridiculous and it's sad, and society is in free fall right now, and I'm tired of defending it and talking about it because it's too much.
Yeah. So in the last what we found out in the last few hours. First, of course, news broke that Charlie Kirk was speaking in Utah. He has free speech rallies where he goes to colleges, he goes to areas, and he does what he calls debating, right?
Yeah.
He has people come up and sort of debate him on a variety of issues.
For those of you who don't know Charlie Kirk is a conservative commentator. As I said, he started Turning Point USA
When he was 18?
when he was 18.
It's a conservative youth organizing.
Very tied in with President Trump. But what he does, which is interesting, is he goes from college campus to college campus. And the name of his tour, this was actually the first stop of the new tour, but it's the Prove Me Wrong tour. So much like this podcast, what people are going to balk at this and I don't care, but what he's doing is he is encouraging debate. Instead of echo chambers where the left talks to the left and the right talks to the right, he is trying to bring people together. Maybe for some, to celebrate the differences or one side or the other. But that's still good.
No,
it's still good.
I hope people don't balk at it because I have appreciated the platforms and places that he has gone to speak to, including Governor Newsom. He was scheduled to have a debate at the end of the month with Hassan Piker, who is a liberal commentator that I've really appreciated over the years. He started with the Young Turks and now is just an independent, and they were going to have a debate at Dartmouth. It is wonderful. This is and it's the fabric of our nation, of our civil society, of our political society is debate, and another week, another assassination. America has gone through some really, really dark chapters and come out on the other side, but it does feel like we are in a very dark chapter again.
And as of, we're doing this at about 4:45 Central Time in Minnesota. At this point,
on Wednesday the
10th. At this point, they thought they had somebody it was at least being reported that they had somebody in custody. It now appears that person at least is not the only person that they are looking for. So we don't know.
Yeah, they don't have anyone in custody.
Yeah, we
let them go.
We don't know what the motivations are yet by who the person is. We're all gonna make suppositions, and I just encourage people to wait until we actually know. But it's immaterial a little bit because this is happening just action reaction, and nobody's going to win this.
No.
Society feels like it is already lost because we're getting desensitized to it, and
you get a couple things. So I want to highlight he's a father of two. He's got two adorable little children and a wife. That's who he leaves behind. He's 31 years old. Certainly, in that short amount of time and at a very early age, whatever side of the aisle you're on, you have to admire or at least respect the abilities and talents of Charlie Kirk. He was able to really harness and go into a space with a conservative voice that very few people have been able to go, and really make, such immediate from President Trump on down. There are folks paying deep. President Trump, former President Biden. I've seen a long list of the highest electeds in the land, calling out and acknowledging and mourning the death of this man at 31. Mm-hmm. So an incredible life that came about really just talking to people. And I just, like you said, Brian, I don't even know what to say anymore. You can't go on Twitter because there is just a morass of people arguing, right?
It's a cesspool,
right?
And
it's
it
just
is
the
unhelpful.
grossest thing said.
Yeah.
The grossest thing said. Assumptions made on all sides, right? Both sides making assumptions. Both sides calling each other out for, now this one is yours, right? In the end, you have deranged individuals. And I'll say this, and I said this when Melissa Hortman was assassinated. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this. We talked about with the Annunciation shooting, and the shooter there had kill Donald Trump written on his magazines for his guns. If you are participating in an us and them, or they are evil, or whatever you're doing with your political rhetoric, if you are not just speaking about your values and speaking about differences in opinions, but if you are making the political debate about one or the other side being evil or the enemy or at war or whatever you're doing, you are part of the problem. These people hear that. People that are unwell hear that, and they take it as a license or an excuse or whatever to rush out and do really heinous, awful things. And I am not saying people that say those things are all going to start shooting up and killing, but you contribute to it. You need to take your political rhetoric down. I have been a lifelong conservative. I grew up a Republican and a conservative in a Republican and conservative family. Goes back to FDR and my grandpa who didn't agree with him. And I will stand by my principles every day. And I have wonderful friends on the other side of the aisle. And we disagree vehemently on the issues and the policies and the ways to solve the problems of the United States. But we love the United States and we want to see things done. And I want to continue to have them as friends and continue a friendly debate. And if you are approaching the political landscape in any other way, you are doing it wrong, and you are in a small way responsible for this kind of violence. You have to stop it. You have to stop yourself. You have to check yourself, and not just, and everyone, right on from political leaders on down the line. I'm calling you all out. Stop it.
No, if you have a platform, you have a responsibility. If you are dehumanizing the language of the theys and the them and the this and the us versus it builds and it builds, and the online nature and the connected information that we have so easily, and we can just scroll and scroll and scroll and get so, and then, if your algorithm on your YouTube channel just puts you down into these tubes of, just on this bender essentially of feeding that reptilian brain that just loves that. It lacks so much. It lacks critical thought. It lacks,
and in the end, what we've got is the father of two beautiful children is dead. A mother and a father of two lovely grown adult children and their golden retriever are dead. And we are all needing to be responsible for that. We all need to answer for this.
This is not a game. This is not a movie. This is not a television show. This is real. And one of our listeners posted, how do you protect your heart? I think you got to do things that aren't political. I mean, one of the reasons that I got into stand-up comedy was that politics, this was back in 2016, politics was so divisive. I needed to be in spaces that did not care that I worked at the Capitol and didn't care who I represented and this and that. Of course, I found out that the political world, the comedy world is absolutely as political as the political world. But I do think that finding ways to help and improve your community that aren't just about winning elections, that is something that probably will do a body good. And it certainly will do the people that you're helping good. And that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, communities of any kind outside of politics. And I think we're just in this time where politics is a personality. It is absolutely not your personality. And it is a critically important, foundationally important. We have to have an educated citizenry to continue, this experiment of the American experiment. But you have to find things outside of it to reconnect with people about anything else. Life is so much more.
Even within politics, right? People always ask us how we do it, right? We've been doing this podcast with right-wing conservatives and left-wing progressives for over a decade now. For over a decade, and we remain friends.
Very good friends.
Very good friends. People don't understand. We are in true and good friends. But you do that because, yes, you have to think about when you're in political debate,
checking yourself and making sure that, sometimes I will get so fed up with Javier, and then I have to think, no, this is his experience and his background, and I just have to I don't need to agree. I just need to respect that he has a different opinion, and that's it. And then also, as you said, we have found things outside the political realm that we have in common. Javier and I have so much in common, and we have so many of the same cultural things we like, and all of those things. And you find those things, and that's how you start.
Before we get off of Javier, this was a planned absence. Javier's not on the podcast today. That was a planned absence.
Yes, he's on
absolutely had nothing to do with Charlie Kirk. This was something that we knew about. He wasn't going to be here for a week. So.
And he won't be here next week either. So that is also planned.
Right. So, I think you just start with that. You just have to start with you. You're never going to be able to change the world overnight. You just have to start with you.
Everybody in the world has an inch. We all have an inch. We can move our inch as the best that we can as individuals, and as a community, we can move more inches in the same way. But this laziness and of gun violence towards political adversaries, as people view it, it's
model good behavior.
Yeah.
Even if you haven't always done it, I haven't always done it, but model good behavior. Project what you want people to think of. Even if it's politics, be the kind of Republican you think people would vote for, and not just people who look like you and are your neighbors in your hometown. What would people you don't know want to vote for? What would the people that have left the Republican Party want to vote for? So model good behavior, and people will be drawn to you. But if you are shouting from the rooftops and calling people names and telling everybody that they're going to hell for this, that, or another reason, guess what? People are going to tune you out.
It's not a party anyone wants to go to. I mean, Melissa Hortman, the golden rule. She carried it in her wallet every single day. She truly practiced. She didn't just preach it, she practiced it, which is far more admirable. But it is why she was so successful, and why she could manage not just a caucus that's fractious, all caucuses are fractious, but she could manage hers. It's why she had such good working relationships with those on the other side of the aisle and in the other body, because that's not always either. She was a genuinely respectful and respectable person.
I guess that's as good a segue as any to that. This week in Minnesota, the House Democrat caucus got together and chose a new leader for their caucus. And we've talked about this in the office. I don't know exactly what title, because Speaker Hortman was Speaker Emerita Hortman. But now Representative Zach Stevenson from Anoka has been chosen to carry on as the leader. I'll just say leader, but we'll find out what the proper name is.
Yeah, I think it's
leader. Okay.
House DFL leader.
House DFL leader Zach Stevenson was chosen this week. He is somebody who has carried very high profile legislation. He's been entrusted mostly by Speaker Hortman. He goes back to the beginning of her early campaigns, but he was Commerce Chair. He's currently was just more recently Ways and Means. He carried the cannabis legislation. He had sports gambling for a while. Correct?
Yep. He's carried a lot of really big, heavy lift legislation, the kind of stuff that has to go through 17 committees and back again,
and has 18 million state, he's interested parties who would disagree.
Super qualified for this position is what I would say. He knows that caucus. He knows how to negotiate and get the votes he needs. He knows give and take. Highly qualified. It was, as you said, it was our bet that was going to be the leader.
That was our bet. He's, as Brian said, been a part of Melissa Hortman's political orbit since he was 18. He started volunteering on her first campaign, and they were incredibly close. So it feels right to have him at the helm, and hopefully they take back the full majority next year.
Remaining as floor leader, because so why it's a little bit we're a little bit on the titles for folks that are new. The Minnesota House is divided 67-66 at the moment. We are going to have a special election next week
on Tuesday.
For Speaker Hortman's seat.
Yes.
It is going to be XP Lee is the winner.
Yes.
He will be a Democrat, and the House will be back to 67-67 split. You have to have 68 votes to pass a bill. However, as part of the negotiation at the beginning of last session, Speaker Demuth, Lisa Demuth, the Republican, has the Speaker title, and Harry Niska, the Republican, has the Majority Leader title. And so Jamie Long, Speaker Hortman had Speaker Emerita. Now it will be House DFL leader, but then I believe that Jamie Long will continue in his role as DFL floor leader. Is that correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Jamie Long's position was majority leader and now has been floor leader, but acting as majority leader, as there really are two.
Yep.
And so that the leadership team requires, the. Four. It's four. It's essentially four people. And then your whips.
It's a right. It's a 4-person leadership.
Yeah.
2 and 2.
Yeah. And
every committee has 2 co-chairs.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it's been divided.
But the majority leader is selected through a different process. It's not like the speaker or the caucus leader chooses who their majority leader is. Yep. That's a separate election. I am happy that the House DFL has a really strong bench. I will say that. Like there were a lot of members who could have, he's been a great choice, and so it is a good. Things are looking good.
So he's a known entity. We've worked with him on a lot of things, and I can say on some things he was extraordinarily helpful, and on other things he ran me right over. So he's definitely up for the job, and we're gonna see how this goes. But it's probably our question is what Melissa Hortman did best was hold that caucus together. That caucus being the Democrats, and making them move as one. On some very controversial things. Whoever the next leader of the Dems is going to be, whether it was Zach Stevenson or one of the other choices they had, the question going forward is going to be, can they hold that caucus together fractionally as much as Melissa Hortman did?
It's huge shoes to fill. Listen, Speaker Hortman was a legend before her assassination. And so now not only was whoever was to replace her at some point going to have really big shoes to fill. But now, in the sadness and the mourning of her assassination, it's just a really heavy, big mantle that Representative Stevenson takes on. And I know he does not take it on lightly in any way, and he's certainly qualified for the job. It's just a really big. It's big. It's a big mantle he's taking.
It is, and I've spent a lot of time with a lot of House DFL members over the last few weeks at fundraisers and events, and I have felt the united nature that everyone is. I mean, truly, like there was an event for XP Lee this morning, and there was 7 chairs there. I mean, they are showing up for each other, and so yes, there's fractious. Yes, there's issues. Yes, there's the urban suburban. Too rural, I'm kidding. Challenges, but I do think that they have a higher cause and purpose, which is to retake the majority in full, and they are united in that.
Well, and the first thing that the new leader is going to have to negotiate is what happens when Governor Walz calls special session to discuss gun violence.
So there was a meeting yesterday. With the leaders that the caucus leaders were called to discuss what a special session might look like. We actually ended up at an event, and I had a front row seat. I was at an event and was speaking with Speaker Demuth at the event right after the meeting. And she had brought up. Republicans came to the table with some things that they would like to see as part of an answer of solutions towards the kind of violence that we saw at Annunciation. The governor seems very set on calling the special session. Yeah, and here's what's unusual. A special session is usually called in a state where there's sort of agreement of the 4 leaders, and they agree on what the agenda will be. They agree on how long the special session will take. That is typically because only a governor can call a special session, but only the legislature can adjourn it and end it. So if a governor calls a special without an agreement, well, all the elected folks in the legislature can bring up whatever they want. And so it's usually a very carefully negotiated session. And so that was, I think, the part of the aim of yesterday. But in the end, the governor has said he's calling a special session, period. And so this will be kind of new waters for us if he does call that without any kind of agreement from any of the leaders,
From any
DFL or
leaders. Yeah,
GOP
DFL or
caucus,
GOP.
on how long, when, what will be legislation. It's unclear.
Well, and one thing that I think that the governor needs to pay a lot of attention to is that the Republicans are ready for this debate. They are ready to have it, along with fraud, along with other things. The Democrats are not unified on this. They weren't unified in 23 when they did pass red flag laws and other gun safety measures, but they could only go that far because they didn't have the whole caucus. And speaking with some privately, they're very nervous about what this means going forward. And they're not. I don't think they're not going into this from a position of strength. By they, maybe I mean Democrats, but I don't really mean that. More, I'm as a former staffer, I am not okay with the level of planning, the level of making sure everyone's working in concert. You don't do special session not knowing what the outcome is going to be.
Well, they haven't called it yet. I mean,
No, he
there's
hasn't.
still a
Now,
lot of. There's still a
here's
lot.
what I hope, and I know the speaker talked to the governor about this, and she's having conversations. She told me with other leaders, including Zach Stevenson, who was also in agreement. She also wanted folks to recognize that this will be, if there is a special or in February when they go back, this will be the first time that the House is on the floor without Speaker Hortman present. And she feels very strongly, Speaker Dameth and Speaker Emerita Hortman worked together. They really drove this last session together. And she wants to honor and create and have the deference and the respect in that chamber for Speaker Hortman. And so whenever this happens, that also has to be a part of the calculation, and she's very, very mindful of that. And I of course I know that Leader Stevenson is going to be also very mindful of that, and so that's another layer to this discussion that has to be acknowledged. They've not been there, and when you talk about there's sadness, there's mourning, there's some level of fear, I'm sure, on people's part, and so that's another calculation that has to be made in deciding what to do here.
Mm-hmm. And I agree, and just frankly that we lost her to an assassination, and we're going to be talking about stronger protections or limiting access to certain types of guns. That's what is going to be debated.
Right.
I think Senator Latz and Senator Mohammed did put out a statement about proposing a working group. I think Senator Latz knows he gave some quotes to a Reformer article about, looking back at what they accomplished in 2023, which, some people have said, like, well, the Democrats didn't do anything. No, they did. They did two pretty big pieces of legislation that had been discussed for years and years and years and years around background checks and red flag laws, which I have opined
And by the way,
before.
Senator Latz has been the chair of Judiciary.
Yes.
Chair of, he has been.
And he's been a huge
right.
proponent for gun control. I mean, like, he would run to the Capitol tomorrow if he thought something more.
And he fully understands the issue and has served for literally decades
Yes.
in this. So he knows every inch of the
And
debate.
he's a criminal
and he knows the
defense
people.
attorney. So
Right.
he brings so much to this. And his father was a proponent for it. Like, I mean, it's just, and I think he understands the math of the issue. And so he has proposed, what some might feel is weaker because it's a working group and death by working group, but like, terrible analogy.
But if you're looking to get something done,
it requires.
I think it requires.
It's a bipartisan. We have to be bipartisan in the Senate too. I mean, we're 33-32. You have to have 34 votes to pass anything in the Senate. So we have the same challenge in the Senate that we do in the House.
100%.
It has to be bipartisan. Everything does. And if we are just going to put people up to take votes for political use in the future, I can't endorse that.
right.
And
from both sides.
Most of them have taken these votes time and time again. Not all of them, but the overwhelming majority have voted on this. And the other thing, and that's not, we're not doing that today. We're not talking about like specific stuff and all of that. But I think it's extremely important to not use, and I'm not saying anyone's doing that, but don't use the memory of Speaker Hortman and the children at Annunciation to justify something that would not have saved them. That I think it's very important that we just keep focused on. We can't say we don't want these tragedies to happen again, and then pass things that have nothing to do with it. This gets really political, and the lines have been drawn. So I don't know that we're scoring a ton of new points here, but there we go.
Other big news last night. I mean, this is just 2025 could slow down.
I mean,
a bit.
if we were a week ago, which we were, but that was a week ago, you would have asked me, is Governor Walz running for a third term? I would have said 80-20 to the negative. And now it's probably 90-10 to the positive.
Almost.
On things you're hearing.
Certainly, you have inside knowledge. You were with him last night.
I was with him last night. This man is hurting. I mean, he truly is. Like, he has gone through a lot over the last year, and the loss of Hortman has really impacted him. And he spoke to a big group last night of us and supporters, and was vulnerable, and it was refreshing. It was incredibly humanizing. In fact, like, the friendship that has emerged between him and Majority Leader Murphy, it was really nice to see, but in tragic terms. But it did seem, he did not make an official statement last night, but he did allude, it felt that he was alluding to that he would be running again. But as Brian said, if you would have asked us a week and a half ago, I don't think that was the case. But I do feel that he feels that there are things left undone that he would like to address in a third term. Yeah. Or at least in a campaign for it.
Well, official announcement either way was supposed to come kind of last week. Now we're hearing maybe early next week. I really think, for a very long time we didn't know for sure because he didn't know.
Because he didn't know.
Yep, yeah. That's how I felt. I always felt like, and then, it does feel like things have tipped. And now if people ask, again, as of I think it was last Friday, we heard that there was maybe some calling vendors for the campaign, and so that's a pretty good signal, So there you go.
But
the latest
tomorrow it could all be different. Right. Let's go to plugs. Amy.
Okay, so I'll be on London Times Radio in about an hour. You can listen live, or there's also a podcast recording of it. We're going to be talking about Charlie Kirk. So we're going to continue this conversation across the pond. This is just also goes to how kind of worldwide, global this is. And then, of course, you can always catch Brian and I every Tuesday on the Bob Sansevier BS podcast. Let's see, what else? I think that's it for now.
Real person?
I'm just a real I'm a real person, and I have no media opportunities this week. Thank you.
Not this week, okay. And as Amy said, you can always catch us on Tuesdays on the Bob Sansevier Show, and then on October 17th, I'm going to be doing comedy at the Rusty Bumblebee in Blaine, Minnesota. So please consider coming out, but don't shoot me, please. And it's sick and sad that that's a thought that pops into my head. And Amy is a bigger deal than me. She has a higher profile. Be careful, because we wouldn't have thought Charlie Kirk was any more of a target than anybody else. Well, I mean,
look, I'm not saying he had a target on his back, but he put himself out there because he should be able to do that. Like, that is what.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so let's do Spanks and Thanks.
You guys go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot one more thing. Some of you might have seen this, but on Monday, thank you, Gabe Noah, Carla Bigham, who has been a guest host on the show, and I tried something different, and we did a little show that we called Wrong About Sports, where we talked about Bears Vikings, we talked about what had happened over the weekend. We're thinking about having that be a weekly deal. If that sounds like something you think you might want to listen to, shoot us a note, because we're looking for encouragement. We had a lot of fun doing it, but it is work.
So where can people find is Wrong About Sports? Is that what
it's Wrong About Sports? I don't think
Sport Ball.
I don't think it's on the Wrong About Everything page, but you can go to my Facebook, go to Carla Bigham's Facebook, and I know that you can find them there.
Are we expanding?
It was fun, by the way. I want to just ring in.
Yeah.
It was like I didn't know what was going to happen at all, and I thought it was really
And we
more
also
fun.
had a special pop-up episode on Friday, and you can now find it online on our YouTube page. We had an exit interview with the Auditor. So State Auditor Julie Blaha came on with Javier and I and just talked about, I have a special dislike for the auditor's office. I find it vestigial. But we had that discussion, and we actually came to some agreement about maybe some reforms that could be done and some consolidation that might happen. She had some suggestions, and we just talked about why she's getting out, and we also it's also like a super wonky episode for you all you nerds out there. If you want to understand the state auditor's roles and local government, and check out the interview with the Auditor. I won't be back.
I won't be back.
I won't be back.
Again, great episode. I did not think I'd care about an auditor at all, and I thought it was super interesting.
And there's been some announced candidacies for her replacement. In fact, one of them, I thought of you, Amy. His website has a lot of, what does the auditor do? And I was just like, you do
Not as much as you should for
not as much as you'd
justifying
think.
the
They should
office.
just put a link to the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
They should.
They should.
dismantle it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Spanks and thanks. Who wants to go first?
You go ahead.
Yeah, I can go. My thank, I have two real quick. One is to Amy's hat. Amy is modeling some excellent.
Oh, thank you.
We are celebrating Amy's wedding month because all brides should be celebrated for as long. And so, Brian, super jealous of it. I know this is not a great thing for a audio medium, but she is wearing a very cute wifey hat because she is going to be a wifey, and we'll get Brian a husbandy too. My actual
Amy will get all of my grace and love and friendship until her wedding on October 4th. October 5th, I don't know what's going to happen.
No promises. Well,
That's a good deal.
thank you,
Take it. Don't push it, but take it.
no.
Sorry, Allison.
I'll push. My act. I had a hard. I mean, it's a tough day. I had a hard time finishing sentences earlier. But my thank is I was not on the Wrong About Sport Ball podcast, so my thank this week is to JJ McCarthy because being the loyal Minnesota Vikings fan I am, which by the way, being a woman, a cis woman who has been a Minnesota sports fan since she was a child, has really taught me that. How to be disappointed with men and move on easily because just years and years. But I went to bed early because I was like, this game stinks. And then I woke up to a text from my mother that said, we have a quarterback. And I was like,
He
oh.
threw for 140 yards and a touchdown to the Bears. He's fine.
Let me
Not
have
going crazy.
this.
You can have it.
The 1 week.
You can have it. Well, JJ McCarthy grew up a Chicago Bears fan, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it was always his dream to throw a touchdown to a Chicago Bear in Soldier Field, and he did do that.
Yeah.
It was for the Bears defense, but still.
And and that was the final score, Brian.
Someone had too many points.
When someone asked him if it was nice to be playing at home, he responded, Minnesota's home. So he's ours now. So I just want to thank him for bringing some excitement, optimism, enthusiasm to what feels like a never-ending death spiral every week. So my spank, though, is, it pains me to say, as a millennial who is still a subscriber to the Minnesota Star Tribune. I do still get the Sunday printed copy with my geriatric neighbors and I all get it together on Sunday mornings, and we sit and chat and drink coffee. But the Star Tribune is moving their printing plant to Iowa. It is currently, as most people are aware, right in the North Loop in Minneapolis. And so 124 folks will be losing their jobs, and we are outsourcing outsourcing to a different state. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the decision. I hate the decision coming from the former deed commissioner. I hate everything about it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You know what? I didn't even think about that.
I'm
no,
just
Steve,
like, I'm like,
Steve
come
Grove
on,
is supposed to
man.
know. Steve Grove, who was the former commissioner of the Department of Employment and Economic Development, knows about how important these jobs are for economic development.
Well,
but I guess the bottom line is what we.
The bottom line, I mean, look, media is legacy media is going through. It's a challenging time, and that is some very valuable real estate. But like, come on, Arden Hills. I mean, Glenn Taylor still prints stuff in Arden Hills, though. Yeah. Come on, Iowa. Anyways, are the deadlines going to move up? Like, what? How does this impact when I get my paper Sunday morning? That's what I want to know. Anyways, so start your me and you're spanked,
Wifey.
All right. So I am going to do a thank, and it's to Senator John Hoffman. He had a post on Facebook that I very much love. It's a picture. It's a great picture of the newly elected DFL House Leader Zach Stevenson and Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman, and she's handing over a pen after a signing to Zach, and I'm sure on a bill he carried. And he just said, his simple was not flowery. It was just, I know you'll make her so proud.
Yeah, it was really.
So I want to say thanks for the post, but also thank you, Senator John Hoffman, for just being in this moment of darkness. You really have been a light, and I know, and I believe you will continue to be. I just want you to get stronger and better every day, because the legislature in Minnesota needs you to get stronger and better every day, and to come on back to the Capitol and do what you do, which is work across the aisle, bring together people from disparate views, and just be a very common sense regular guy that gets along with all.
And fun. And funny.
We need you. And maybe I'll do that and just say thanks to Senator John Hoffman and leave it at that. And of course, thank you to Allison for noticing my hat and helping to celebrate this month.
I will celebrate you every day, wifey.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
I'm being tested.
Spank you for the skull.
You don't
Spank your
you don't
negative
spank me
attitude.
at all.
Spank you.
How about you don't spank me at all?
Spanked. You're spanked. It's too late.
So my spank is going to be to Gavin Newsom, governor of California, but not really. Really what it is, and why I'm bringing this up is Gavin Newsom did have a relationship with Charlie Kirk. They would be, they did events together, podcasts and all that, and I think that is an extraordinarily good thing. What I'm bringing up is that in his multiple statements today about Charlie Kirk, Gavin Newsom said, Americans of all political stripes must unite in condemning this heinous act of violence. My thoughts are with Charlie Kirk and his family. And then Kamala Harris, former vice president, said she was sending prayers to Charlie Kirk and his family. Why I'm bringing this up is about thoughts and prayers. After Annunciation, when elected officials, mostly on the Republican side, but not just, would talk about thoughts and prayers going to the families and those affected, they were very much derided. That's not enough. That's not good enough. Well, you know what? It might not be good enough for some things. But when America's soul is as damaged as it is right now, and I sit here not as the most religious guy in the world, but I'm also not the least religious guy in the world. Religion doesn't have to be divisive. Religion can be healing if you let it. And so while I said a spank, my spank is to the people who deride thoughts and prayers. I'm also going to turn it into a sputhank by telling Gavin Newsom and Kamala Harris and all the other people on the left that thoughts and prayers are welcome. So thank you very much. My thank which was a much more fun thing to talk about before all of this, is my thank is to former Chicago Cubs baseball player, first baseman Anthony Rizzo. Anthony Rizzo won a World Series with the Chicago Cubs in 2016. He was a 3-time All-Star. He won 4 Gold Gloves. He won the Silver Slugger in 2016. He won the Platinum Glove in 2016. He was the 2017 Roberto Clemente Award winner, and that is for citizenship. Anthony Rizzo himself is a cancer survivor, and he works a lot with kids who are going through cancer. He does a lot on that, and he did win the 2017 Roberto Clemente Award. Also, interestingly, just tying it a little bit to the other topic, he went to Parkland High School.
Really?
Yes. He had 303 homers, 1,600 hits, an OPS over 828, and I named my dog after him.
And you're a good namer.
I am a good namer. And Anthony Rizzo is absolutely one of my favorite Cubs of all times. He's going to come back to the team. They're going to do a ceremony for him. He actually signed with the Cubs on a 1-day contract so he could retire a Chicago Cub, which is awesome. They're doing a presentation for him on Saturday, and then he's going to be an ambassador for the Cubs, and I'm so glad that he's back wearing blue because the Cub world is better with him in it. So with that, I am GOP strategist and gonna tolerate the hat, Brian McDaniel.
I am soon-to-be wifey, Amy Koch.
And I am soon-to-be wifey and supporter, Allison Nessie.
And we are
Wrong about everything. Yes.
Too much.
I was too busy doing that to get the cue with the music. Sorry.
Worth it. Worth it, good.